Uh, Sorry for the mix-up. Uh, as I said earlier, the second category, the third category is shared by all prophets. That is the entire prophets of God, the prophets and apostles. That is why the Almighty Allah appointed them prophets and exposed them to knowledge beyond our comprehension. And we can only get that knowledge through them as intermediaries between the Almighty and His creatures. They receive the divine message and deliver it to the people to whom they were sent. And the fourth category is the one that is known only by the saintly servants of Allah. We provided example with Abu Bakr when he informed his daughter Aisha that he gave her some dates that she did not collect up to the time of his death. So he told her that as soon as he dies, she will no longer be entitled to collecting the dates because it will fall within that is the estate that was going to be shared among the heirs. And he said, my heirs are only 5 of you, 2 of your sisters and 2 of your brothers. She said, well, my dad, I am aware of 2 of my brothers, Muhammad and Abdurrahman, and my sister Asma. Who is the third daughter of yours? He said, she lay in the womb of her mother, and she will be born after my demise. And that was how it turned out to be. His wife gave birth to a female baby, that is to a baby girl, and that baby girl was named Kulthum. And Umar provided quite a number of examples, including the episode in which he was commanding Sariya, who happened to be a commander of troops fighting in the war theater far away in Persia. Umar was commanding him from Medina. So you can see this was reported by Imam Suyuti. And Usman also made a lot of utterances to that effect. One of which was when he was visited by someone, he looked at his face and said, wow, I don't want to, there's nothing I hate as much as looking at someone's face that is filled with signs of adultery. The man was terrified. Awahim ba'da Rasulillah, you mean you receive a revelation after the departure of their Prophet upon whom be peace and blessings? Because the man knew what he did. Usman said, no. Ittaqu firasat al-mu'min fa'innahu yanzuru bi-nurillah. You should be cautious of the recognition of a true believer because he sees things in a manner that you cannot see. So, فَإِنَّ يَنْظُرُ بِنُورِ اللَّهِ. And the fifth category is the one that can be given to anyone, regardless of their faith or their righteousness, or whether they are pious or they are impious. Piety or impiety is not a factor here. The Almighty Allah can give that knowledge to anyone, faith or no faith. Whether one is faithful or not faithful, it doesn't matter. And this is the one that is demonstrated by scientists. The scientists, for example, somebody who studied geology can tell you accurately that if you dig here, you can extract certain mineral resources. He can tell you with all certainty that certain mineral resources is buried here. That if you dig very deep, you will find that resource lying beneath the earth. So you can see that is that. And of course, you can also pick an example in the manner, for example, a pregnant woman can be told by, that is when a pregnancy test is conducted, she can be told that she was going to give birth to so gender or child, for example, either female gender or male gender, and so on. You can see this is scientifically proven, and it is concealed from those who do not have that knowledge. So to those who do not have that knowledge, it is considered a knowledge of a ghaib because they don't know it. Ghaib means mangaba anka, anything that concealed from you. That is, anything that you don't have knowledge of, then it is considered ghaib to you, and that is that. So the essence of the role of the prophets to their, that is the essence of their role in their respective nations is to set standard, to teach us values beyond our comprehension. In fact, to teach us the concept of values. Because what differentiates human beings from animals is values. That is, if you have values, the more values you have, the more human being you are. Animals do not have values at all. All they know is the law of survival. How would they survive? Whatever it takes to survive, they are ready to do it. They don't have values that they respect in their course or in their pursuit of survival. So when you come across any human society that does not recognize values in its pursuit of interest, that means that human society is nothing short of a herd of animals. So it's not considered. So that is what the prophets came to do, to teach us there are certain values that no money can buy. There are certain values beyond material consideration, far above material consideration. And there are what we call non-negotiable values. Because without the Almighty Allah intervening and sending envoys and prophets to teach us what is value, we may end up setting values for each other. You can see certain human society claiming superiority over another, in fact arrogating to itself the right to define what is value. Just as we have today, stronger nations have already arrogated to themselves the right to define what is ideal and what is not ideal. In fact, they arrogate to themselves the right to tell the whole world what is what and what is not what. Their definitions are considered universal, and they are considered accepted by all. So it is to avoid all this that prophets were sent to tell us what is expected of us from our Creator. Otherwise, the right to define or the right to tell us what is right, what is wrong, belongs to our Creator and our Creator alone. But a fellow creature should only wait and listen to the definitions provided by our Creator. He has no right to define. Well, the least he can claim is to define for himself, not for others, because he should expect others to have that right to definition, to define things the way they see them. But inasmuch as they arrogate to themselves the right to tell the world what is good, what is bad, that means that they have claimed the divine mandate. This mandate belongs to the Almighty and to Him alone. And even the prophets, despite the fact that they were dispatched by the Almighty, they needed to prove their prophethood through the performance of miracles. They were challenged by their respective nations for miracles, so as to prove beyond any manner of doubt that they were truly sent by God. So, when the Almighty Allah conceded to His creatures the right to even challenge and demand miracles from those that were sent as prophets, then who else do you think that can claim that right? That is why when they say it's a free world, of course it's a free world. But it's not without consequences. It's a free world for all to do whatever they want, but they should get ready for the consequences of what they do. They should get ready to be accountable for their actions. That is the difference. And that is why, as I said earlier, even during the time of prophets, whenever they come across their nations claiming to be prophets, conveying messages to their respective nations, those nations always ask them questions. And it was not the language of power that those prophets used to speak to their people. No. They address them logically. They engage them in a logical manner. And they demand from them to do things that are extraordinary. Things that can only be done supernaturally, so as to prove their supernatural status. For them to claim to be supernatural, they must perform certain things that are supernatural in nature. Well, at this point, why one might wrongly think that if the advanced nations of today can go to the extent that they have gone today in terms of scientific exploitation, scientific exploits, as well as their technological advancement, to the extent that now they have broken all the grounds that nothing is considered impossible. This is acquired through scientific inquiry, technological research, and these are no longer supernatural because they can be acquired by everybody. The world of science today is open to everybody to explore. It's not in any way exclusive for certain nations to use or acquire or exercise. It's for all. While in the case of the prophets, they perform things that can only be performed by them and no one else. No one can even learn how to perform such things because they are too extraordinary to be copied by anyone. So that means that their job was to teach us values. The value of life, the value of existence, in fact the purpose of existence. Because most of us are too engrossed in our material pursuit to even ask ourselves the philosophical question of why do we exist. This question, if you are to ask more than 80% of the world population to answer this, have they ever sat down to ask themselves why do they exist? Are we just biological accidents, products of biological accidents? No, there is nothing accidental in this universe. Everything was carefully planned, predestined, and executed by the Almighty Allah. And there is nothing such as accidental. Because for you to know that there is no room for accidental events as far as the Almighty Allah is concerned, up to today, ever since the beginning of the universe, the heaven still stands as it is. It has never fallen, because he who crafted the heavens holds it over there and refuses to allow it to fall. That's why it stands the way it is. If there is room for accidental events, the heaven would have fallen one day. But because it is preserved until the last day, when the heaven is going to be broken for angels to come down. The Almighty Allah says, وَيَوْمَ تَشَقَّقُ السَّمَاءُ بِالْغَمَامِ وَنُزِّلَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ تَنزِيلًا. Remember the day that the heaven will be split for angels to come down. It will be split into pieces so that the angels for the resurrection to take place. So that tells us a lot, that for everyone to claim the right to define what is proper and what is not, what is ideal, what is not, he needs to create his own world, create the creatures of that world, and tell them what to do, what not to do, and shape their minds the way he wants. But this world is created by the Almighty Allah, and the creatures living in the space of the world are equally created by the Almighty Allah. And in fact, He created them for a purpose, and that purpose can only be defined by Him and Him alone. Anybody that claims to define the purpose of the creation according to his own perspective, then he claimed the divine right. So he claimed the divine mandate. I'm going to stop here, inshallah. In the next session, we are going to continue where we stop. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى